What's goody? Hey man, so yesterday the Patriots fired their head coach Gerard Mayo, and this is a move that when I saw the ESPN notification, not only was I shocked, but I was like insanely confused because this is a guy that the Patriots hired last year, like right after firing Bill Belichick, they hired him. That was the first thing they did was they hired Gerard Mayo, a former player, a former tight end, somebody that played for the Patriots, and somebody that really was, seemed like a hire that was like a little bit of a shock, but seemed like a hire that seemed like it had like a high risk, high reward, right? And I think Gerard Mayo, I think he was like 34, 35 years old when he got hired as a young black man. I was like, okay, I was really happy for him. I was interested to see what he could do. But I think that even after that hire, everybody in the world knew that the Patriots were going to be a bad team. Even after they drafted Drake May, everybody in the world knew the Patriots were going to be a bad team. In fact, I knew they were going to be one of the worst teams in the league. And that is probably the most confusing part of this hire to me, is just the fact that, like, we knew you were going to be bad. We expected you to be bad. In fact, I thought the goal of the Patriots this year was to be bad. And then you are bad like we expect. I think you got 3 or 4 wins because they won against the Bills yesterday and everything like that, even though that was a stupid win because that did lose them the 1 seed. One thing that I'll say about that win is, how can you be mad at Joe Milton? You can't be, like, you can say that, okay, Gerard Mayo, you got to see that Joe Milton's in there hooping, but it's like, what do you do? Who do you put in instead of him? What are you going to do? You're just going to go out there and blatantly tank, but have a running back out there playing quarterback just so you can get the first overall pick? That right there is a shameful level of tanking. You know what I'm saying? So that is something that I don't think would have blown over with the fans well. But you can't be mad at a guy like Joe Milton, who's a guy that's a rookie, was like a 6th or 7th round pick, is a guy that is going to be fighting for spots on rosters after this year and every single year for the rest of his career. He's a guy that has to put out film to the other 31 teams in the NFL. So when he has a chance to play, even if it's in Week 18 versus some Bills backups for the most part, when he has a chance to play, it is in his best interest to do everything that he can do to to get out the best film as possible, to have the best possible tape. And he had this one phenomenal throw that I've been seeing all over Twitter. People talking about, hey, a team should sign him just for this one throw alone. And obviously, while that's hyperbolic, it's like he as a player, as a man, has to do everything he can for himself and his family. You can't be mad at him for winning that game and going out there and hooping and performing to the way that he knows he can and the way that he believes he can and the way that he did, because it's like he has to provide for himself. He doesn't give a fuck about the team having the first round pick. So they can do what? Go draft a guy that's going to make the team better? They don't care, because he knows in his mind that Drake May is the guy that the Patriots want to start. He knows in his mind that Drake May did pretty solid in the minutes that he got and the plays that he got as a rookie this year. So he knows that his best chance to play is probably going to be with another team. His best chance to move up the depth chart is probably going to be with another team. So you can't be mad at that man for putting out the best possible film to those 31 other teams that are going to be looking to the fact that he can potentially get a spot. If I'm him, I'm doing the same thing. It's like, not only are you playing for that name on the back of your jersey and that name on the front of your jersey and everything like that, you're not just playing for your own name and the name and the team and everything like that, but you've got to understand, he's probably got his family probably has every single thing riding on him, pause, for like the finances of their life, right? His family probably relies heavily on his finances, on his salary as an NFL player. So why would he not go out there and try to put out the best possible film so that he can increase that payday, he can get those finances more, he can get to the place that I'm sure he wants to be, the place that I'm sure he envisioned and always dreamed of himself being at? You can't be mad at him for that. So I'm not even mad that the Patriots won that game, because they still have a pretty high pick. I think they're like top 5 or top 3, something like that. But then the news comes out of them firing Gerard Mayo, and I'm on the game with the homies playing 2K. I'm looking at the notification, and I talked to my one homie Trevon, who's in sports media himself, and he and I are both confused by the move. Because it just doesn't make sense. You hired a coach, and if you are Robert Kraft or the Patriots organization as a whole, you should have had the realistic expectations. You should have been able to be real and realistic with yourself to know that this team was not going to be good this year. So I don't get why you fired Gerard Mayo, because he did what you were expecting. It's not like you were expecting to go out there and be a 7-9 team or whatever the hell, a 7-10 team, and have a potential to make a wild card spot or even be at least somewhat competitive in your own division. No one was expecting that. I expected you to come in last in the division. I would have been shocked if you didn't come in last in the division. So what are you firing Gerard Mayo for? And the better question to me is, what was the point of fucking hiring him? Because the one thing that I'm thinking of, and I hate to play the race card, I hate to do that, I really don't like to do it, especially when I don't know Robert Kraft personally. I don't know if this is something he would do, but to me it looked like, okay, We have this guy. It's going to be a good PR move if we hire him. We're going to be able to say we hired a young black head coach who used to play in the NFL. If it works out, it works out. And if not, we fire him after a year and say that we didn't really care anyway because the team was ass, and we can always blame the firing on the fact that the team was ass. And that's just kind of what the move feels like to me. It kind of feels like you hired Gerard Mayo knowing that you were never going to put the future of this franchise in him unless he abundantly over exceeded expectations for this year. And that's just something that with that roster was not realistic. If you're not a Patriots fan, you can't name 3 players on the Patriots offense and 3 players on the defense. You can't, because the team is ass. Nobody's watching the fucking Patriots anymore. Tom Brady's not there. So I just don't understand what the purpose of hiring the man was, and even more what the purpose of firing the man was, because it's like you never gave him a chance to show you what he could have been capable of with a decent roster, because the roster that he had this year was far, far less than decent. So what was the point of firing him? And I saw this clip today, and it was like Gronk who was about to, and it was the Gronk, and people were speculating that he was about to go off on Robert Kraft and the Patriots for firing Gerard Mayo, but then the clip got cut by Fox and whatever. They went to news, they muted him, they went to commercial, they muted him, they did whatever, right? And it's like, that's a whole nother thing that I could talk about with the media muting the people who actually tell the truth and everything like that. It's something that you see all over media, not just in sports media, but just in media in general, is that people will a lot of times silence the people who tell the truth and everything like that because it doesn't fit the brand or whatever. And I don't care about that, because it's something that there's nothing I can do about that. Like, that's one of those things that's just how the world works, and it sucks that it happens, and I hate that it happens, and I hate that it happens to Gronk of all people, because he's somebody that I'm assuming knows Robert Kraft and the Kraft family very well from his time in New England, his championships in New England. So he's a guy that's extremely qualified, and I would have been excited to hear what his opinion was on the firing, because I think that it is one of those moves that not only is insanely stupid, but I feel like it's not being talked about enough, because the Patriots were ass, and people are just like, well, it's the Patriots. It was Gerard Mayo. It was his first time as a head coach. He was 34, 35 years old. He shouldn't have got the job anyway. What Robert Kraft just did was abundantly stupid. Who are you hiring in place of him, first of all? Second of all, what did he do to warrant being fired? Are you mad at him because now that you won that last game, you don't get the first overall pick? How are you mad at him for that? What, if I'm Gerard Mayo, I'm thinking the same thing that I'd be thinking if I was Joe Milton. I have to put out film. I have to be able to put out tape to the rest of the 31 GMs and owners in the league that might be willing to hire me now that he is looking for a job. You have to be able to put that out and say, hey, when I'm given the chance, I can put together a solid game plan even with a less than solid roster. He has to be able to go out there and put out the best possible film and the best possible game plan for the situation, because doing what's best for the franchise does not necessarily mean, especially in this case, doing what's best for him. And clearly the franchise didn't give a damn about him, because they went on and fired him for basically no good reason. Now, barring like a scandal or something insane coming out the way that all this Joy Taylor stuff and all this Fox News stuff is coming out right now around the Patriots and around Gerard Mayo, this firing will never make sense to me. I thought Gerard Mayo was a guy that deserved a chance. The same way I feel about Antonio Pierce. Antonio Pierce with the Raiders deserves another season. Now, he hasn't been fired or anything, but I believe that he deserves a chance because he's playing with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell as his 2 starting quarterback options. You have to be able to give him a little more than that. You have to be able to see, okay, if we can draft well, if we as the GM and the owner can do our job and bring in the right pieces, can this coach do something? If not, that's the point when you fire him. When you have a coach that's underperforming given the roster that he has, that's when a guy deserves to be fired. When you have Darvin Ham going out there and putting out 5 guard lineups in the NBA, that's a coach where it's like, all right, bro, you're putting out a lineup of 5 guards. You clearly don't know what you're doing. You might deserve to be fired. But when it's a guy like Gerard Mayo and you're giving a roster that is subpar, and you're in a division that's tough, you're in a conference that's tough, the whole NFL is tough right now, damn near, it's like, what did you expect him to do? If you're the Patriots, you're happy that you got a high draft pick because the team isn't what you need right now, and the only way to build it is to have that high draft pick. So what was the point of firing him? One thing about this stuff, bro, is just like the NFL is so confusing to me, and I think sports in general a lot of times are super confusing, but it's just stuff like this is like, I hate when it feels like somebody wasn't given a fair chance, especially when that person looks like me. It's like, bro, it just feels like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not to bring that race thing out, but it feels that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like that was a factor, because it's just like, this is a guy that a lot of people said may not have deserved the job in the first place. People might have been surprised when he got the job, but people were for the most part, excited to see what he could do. And now it's like you didn't give him a chance to see what he could do before you fired him. And because of that, he's probably not going to get another head coaching job in the NFL for a while, because it's like, the coaches don't have the other GMs and owners in the league don't have much to look at when trying to hire him, and it's like he didn't do anything in his 1 year that's impressive enough to warrant giving him another chance, especially if you're one of these organizations that's looking to do something special. So I don't know, bro. This is just the type of stuff that I hate. I think the firing was absolutely idiotic. I just don't get it. To me, like, it just feels like it was a random move that didn't need to happen at all, and it just felt like something that was like an absolute shock to me and an absolute. It just makes no sense. Like, I can't think of a possible reason that's logical for him to be fired. So I just don't get it. I would love to know what y'all think, as some of y'all that might be more tapped into the NFL than I am, because y'all know I'm a basketball guy. But yeah, man, it was really interesting. I hope Gerard Mayo and his family are doing all right. Prayers up to them. I hope that he can find another job that's worth his talent. Another job in another franchise that'll maybe give him a chance. But yeah, man, it's just. I never thought I'd see the day where I'm considering calling the Patriots organization dumpster fire. Growing up, I never thought I'd see that. So I'd love to hear what y'all think, man. But yeah, appreciate y'all for watching. And tomorrow, you'll get something else. I don't know what it is yet. Maybe it'll be a rebuild. Maybe it won't be. I have no idea. But I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching. All right.